What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today reluctantly with a brand new review of Tyler Perry's Sistas on BET, you guys. So, Sistas is back, you guys. Honestly, I can say that I haven't missed Sistas. I didn't even, if you guys didn't know, I mean, you guys probably noticed it, but I didn't even do the review for the season finale of season 5. I did watch the finale, I just didn't do the review for it, but this is season 6. We're back. We're gonna rock it and roll because I know that there are so many of you guys out there who do watch my sister's reviews and enjoy them as well as the Oval. So I guess we'll be back for both of these shows, you guys. Now I do know that Tyler Perry has brought on some writers for Sistas. Now because I saw that post, I saw that when it was announced that he got some writers, right? But those writers are not for season 6. Those writers are for season 7, which they're currently filming. So I'm hopeful and I'm optimistic that once season 7 gets here, that it'll be better than what it is now. Because I think the issue for me with Tyler Perry's writing style is the fact that we stay on one subject for too long. The repetitive dialogue, the fact that the dialogue is too long, the storylines don't move anywhere because Karen is still pregnant, and we found out Karen was pregnant in season 4 or 5, and Karen still doesn't know who the father of the baby is. Karen is still not showing. So I'm happy that the writers are coming on so that maybe we can progress the storyline, because overall Sistas is a really good show and I've enjoyed Sistas since I started watching it. Since the beginning, I've enjoyed both Sistas and the Oval, but they lose me, right? Tyler Perry shows eventually lose me, but that's neither here nor there. This is season 6 of Sistas, episode 1. Straight No Chaser is the title of the episode, you guys. Now, before we go ahead and get into this review, if you guys are watching this video or any other on the channel, and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also by turning on your post notifications, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into Sistas, shall we? So you guys, this episode, we opened up literally where the season finale ended. You guys remember that Maurice went down to the airport to get his car from Q, because Q at this point has stolen everything from Maurice, took everything out the apartment and his car. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, Q, you're stupid. That's Maurice's car. He can easily report his car stolen and you would be in jail, but neither here nor there, right? But remember, Q and Maurice got into an argument with each other. Q pulled the gun on Maurice, so they struggled for the gun and boom, gunshot, right? So it was Q who got shot. Now, I was noticing that Q was bleeding from up here, right? But the way Q was acting, you would think that he got shot in the abdomen or in the stomach or somewhere, because he's like, I'm dying. I was actually with Maurice, like, child, let him go on to glory, right? But Calvin came and Calvin was like, no, Maurice, we got to call the police. And honestly, I agree with Calvin, right? Despite how we feel about Q, I was like, yeah, Maurice, we definitely want to call the cops, right? Because you already out on bail for what Q has set you and Sabrina up for. So you don't need to go to jail for attempted murder, right? Even though there are cameras in the airport parking lot so they can see what happened with this altercation, right? So Maurice was telling Calvin not to call the police, and it was that repetitive dialogue that Tyler Perry loves to do. Yes, let's call the police. No, don't call the police. Bitch, don't call them. You know, y'all know how Maurice is, right? But eventually, Calvin did call the police. Now, we move over to some bar, and we see Danny there. So Danny is at the bar. So this is after the scene that she had with Andy, Karen, and Sabrina, where she basically read the hell out of their asses, and I loved every second of when Danny told all of them the shit that they've done. I just loved it. Wish I had reviewed that episode, because that was really the only thing that I missed not talking about in the season finale, was when Danny read into all 3 of them being hypocrites, right? So Danny is sitting at the bar, right? Preston comes into the bar with Mindy. So we didn't see Mindy at this point. So Preston says, she asked him, "How did you have a track him?" He says, "No, we just came here for dinner." And she was like, "Who?" She was like, "Wait a minute, Preston." He said, "You want to meet her?" I was like, I think the fuck not." And even Danny said, "Hell no," right? So she says, "Wait a minute. So were you with her when you called me?" Now I don't know if Preston really answered this question because he said she went to the restroom. That's not what Danny asked you. Danny asked you when you called her earlier, was Mindy in the car with you? But if my memory serves me correct, Mindy wasn't in the car. From what we could see, Mindy wasn't in the car with him. It was just him, right? So the bartender, her name is Tina, right? So she took Danny's keys, and so she was still pouring for Danny. But then she went and got her phone and called Andy. So Andy answered the phone. She's like, "Hello." She's like, "Hi." She's like, she started talking to her. And Andy was like, "Who is this?" So this is Tina from down at whatever the bar's name is, Eddie Jakes or something like that. And she was like, "Danny is down here, and she's a little bit, drunk, right?" So she says, "Take her keys from her." She says, "I already done it, right?" She said, "Okay, so I'll be right there." So she called up Sabrina and she called up Karen, and they all gonna go to the bar where Danny is. Karen was gonna go to the salon, but she said, "You know what? Let me just go ahead and go to the bar first, and then I'll come to the salon." But let's pause here and move forward, you guys. So next up, we move back over to the airport with Maurice and Calvin. So the EMTs and the paramedics and everybody, they showed up. So Q has a weak pulse. So Q for right now is going to be okay. So then the police come up to Maurice and Calvin asking what happened. Calvin said he wasn't there. He got there right as it happened, so he doesn't know anything. They asked Maurice what happened. Maurice is telling the cops that, he robbed him and he came to get his stuff. So then, here's the thing that just blew me, because they're saying that there are cameras in the airport parking lot, right? And they're like, "We're gonna review the cameras just to make sure that what you're saying is, pans out. It's gonna pan out, right?" So then at one point, the cops said to Maurice that they saw the cameras and what he said lines up. I was like, so, and I was actually with Maurice, and we all know how Maurice is. Maurice, he be extra and he's sarcastic. But when Maurice asked him, "What the fuck you asked them dumbass questions for?" I was absolutely with Maurice. It's like, so you guys watched the camera footage. You guys saw Q pull the gun on Maurice, but then you're gonna sit here, which I know that when it comes to a police investigation, they do have to question you, right? I know that. But it was the fact that the man sat there and said, "We're gonna have to review the cameras," but you've already reviewed the cameras. I think Tyler might have missed that because you said it. He said it once. They got to review the cameras to make sure that what he's saying lines up with what's on the cameras. But then he said we watched the cameras and it matches. I was like, so what was the purpose of this conversation? So next up, we got Fatima and Zach. So they're in bed, right? So Zach is asking Fatima, like, "How are you so cool with all the baby mama's drama, right?" And she's like, "Technically, I'm not really cool." She says, "What it is she's cool with the truth." And I was like, okay. Now the truth is, I still don't believe that Karen is pregnant with Zach's baby, but that's neither here nor there. You guys know how I feel about that. So then they start talking about Heather. Now, I will tell you guys, I did not finish season 1 of Zatima, and I haven't even watched season 2 of Zatima, so I don't know what is going on in Zatima. I want you guys to leave it in the comments. I won't necessarily, I will say this, don't spoil it for me, but tell me in the comment section, have the timelines caught up? That's all I ask you guys. Tell me in the comment section, because remember, season 1 of Zatima was ahead of Sistas just a little bit, right? But now when we got into season 5 of Sistas, we finally started to kind of connect that timeline a little bit with Zatima. So tell me in the comment section, is Zatima ahead of Sistas currently? And like I said, please don't spoil it for me. Don't spoil it for me, because I may go back and watch it. I'm not entirely positive that I'm going to go back and watch it, but I think I might. I'm not going to review it because I couldn't really get into Zatima. I did review a few episodes of Zatima, but I couldn't get into it enough to review it like that, especially after somebody told me that those were two different timelines, but not timelines, two different universes. But now that we know that they're the same exact series, they're right in connection with Sistas and Zatima are connected to each other, I'm fine with it, so I'll go back and watch it, but I don't think I'm gonna pick it up as something to review. Now, nah, we ain't gonna review it. But yeah, let me know in the comment section, right? So Zach is now wondering how is Heather as a mother to his son, right? He wants to know if she treats his son right. So, because you guys remember when Zach offered Heather that money for child support, Heather immediately jumped on it. She was like, "I'll sign right here." That's all Heather wants is money. But you know, and I've stated this theory plenty of times before when it comes to Heather and when it comes to Hayden, right? I think Hayden was behind this paternity test. I still don't think that Zach is that child's father, much like I don't think Zach is Karen's child's father. But I don't think Karen gonna. Never mind. We're gonna say that to the end of the review, you guys. But yeah. So Fatima suggested, okay, well, to get to know Heather, why don't we invite Heather and they don't name the baby. The little boy's name is Michael. See, I didn't know that, right? But so Fatima says, let's invite them over here for dinner one night, and then let's go over to their place, right, to see how they are living. So we good right there. So let's pause here and move forward. All right, guys. So next up, we see Andy, Sabrina, and Karen as they arrive at the bar to get Danny, right? So Danny is drunk as hell, right? So the girls are like, well, we waited at your house for you, Danny. And I was with Danny, so that's what y'all want to come down here and talk to me about? Oh, we were waiting for you, Danny, so we're hurt. Y'all were so rude and disrespectful to Danny. The way that y'all treated Danny did Danny do something wrong? No. Do I agree with what Danny did with either Q or with old boy that spit on her? No. But Danny is hurting. So I'm not so hurt people do things to hurt, try to alleviate the pain. And that's what Danny was doing. So I'm not gonna sit here and fault Danny for anything that she did because you got Andy. Andy continuously runs to Gary who's no good for her. He is manipulative. He is controlling. Like there are a slew of other things that I can say about Gary, but Andy continuously runs behind Gary. Karen, you are a bitter ass person you cannot let go. Like you have a whole ass issue with Fatima because she is with Zach because Zach elevated from you. Like, and I'm not saying that Fatima is an elevation. I'm saying that Zach did, Fatima encouraged Zach and Zach, uplifted, did good for himself, right? And then you got Aaron, who we'll talk about Aaron in a little bit. And then let's not even get on Sabrina with Calvin. Like y'all all have y'all's own issues, but y'all came down so hard on Danny, and that's what I did not like in the season finale was the fact that each one of y'all have y'all own respective issues when it comes to men. Like let's be real about it, right? Karen, you accused Zach of stealing the money from you from the salon, and he didn't do it. And then, like I said with Sabrina, you have Calvin, that needs to go away. Then you had Jacoby at one point. Like y'all have no room to just talk, literally no room to talk. But that's neither here nor there, right? So, they tell Danny how much they love her, right, and that she was right about all of them, absolutely. So Andy is absolutely delusional as hell. When she's sitting here talking about Gary, I love Gary, he does this and he does that. Andy, did you forget that Gary hugged you so tightly? He almost broke your damn ribs. And when the cops came and arrested him and left you stranded, Jasmine and her homegirls, when they came to your office and jumped you in the parking lot, you have been through. Let's even forget when Jasmine came to the apartment and shot Gary with the fucking blanks. Like, Andy, what is it? And she said, well, the sex is good because Danny said, girl, it's just the sex. It's him putting a dick on you. And she's like, yeah, the sex is good. The sex can't be that good, Andy, that you literally put your life in danger multiple times behind this man. I ain't got no time for Andy, right? I have no time for Andy. So they apologize, right? So Sabrina then talked about her and Calvin, and I was with Danny, like, can we please stop talking about you and Calvin? Karen didn't really have much to say, right? But she did tell them about the woman that came down to her salon behind Aaron. And I'm like, Karen, that should be something Because this is the second woman that has come to your salon behind Aaron. Now, granted, you weren't messing with Aaron when his ex-wife came down there and shot herself in your salon. You weren't messing with the man. But this is the second woman that has come to your shop and caused a fucking scene. I would be done with Aaron. I would be done. And I know a lot of people be like, oh, but Aaron is this, Aaron is that. You guys, we can call a spade when it comes to Aaron. There's something that we don't, like her mama Lisa was saying, there's something about Aaron that we just don't know. And I agree with that. There is something about Aaron is too good to be true, in my personal opinion. I don't know what you guys think about that, but you can let me know. But I just feel like Aaron is way too good to be true. So they were getting ready to leave, right? And they saw Preston with Mindy, and they were like, is that Preston over there with a white woman? And then it was like, yep, I saw her. He wanted me to meet her. So what did Danny do? Danny decided that she wanted to go over to the table where Preston and Mindy were. I was like, oh, this ain't gonna be good. And honestly, it wasn't good. And it's so interesting looking at this thing because Mindy is stupid. She's a beautiful woman. I will say that. She's a gorgeous woman, but she's dumb as hell, right? Because when you listen to Preston talking, so Mindy knows about Danny, vice versa, Danny knows about Mindy. Mindy has on the ring that Preston got for Danny, and then was like, that looks like the ring that he got for me. And Mindy didn't, most women, if I'm thinking about women, no woman wants an engagement ring that was intended for another woman unless it's a family heirloom, right? Like if it's passed down from generation to generation. That's it. But if it's a ring that you went and bought for a woman and you say, oh, and then another woman says, that was meant for me, I'd be like, excuse you, take this ring back and you go be with her, right? But Mindy is like, oh no, I want him to figure everything out. Because at one point, Preston said, Danny, go home and I'll take her to the hotel and I'll come see you. I was like, say what now? Run that on back to me. Like, how you just say, I'm going to take her to the hotel, then I'm going to come see you. And then Mindy's like, oh, okay, well, I just want him to figure everything out before we get married. Girl, you might as well be in a polyamorous relationship because say what now? I'm not going to sit here and get engaged to anybody that has feelings for someone has feelings for someone else and that bought an engagement ring for another person. I'm not going to, I just couldn't do it if I was a woman. Like I couldn't do it, wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't be for me. And she's just sitting here like, okay, I'm fine with that. Say what? Nah, Preston. Hey, Preston, do you want me or do you want Danny? But the fact that she knows about Danny, so you know that he's gone back home to try to get with Danny. Girl, is it insecurities? What is it? What is it? Because even Danny had to say at one point, Preston ain't that fine. I was like, nobody is that fine to deal with. No, say what now? Hell to the no. But let's pause here and move forward, you guys. Danny and Sabrina were still sitting at the bar, right? Karen eventually left. Andy got a text message she got a text from Gary at one point, but then he called her and we see that Gary is in her bed naked with rose petals covering him. So he said, did you get the text message? She said, yes. He said, well, come home so we can talk. She was like, you guys know how Andy is when it comes to Gary. She wants to play like she doesn't want to do it, but then she's going to go ahead and do it, right? So she's like, well, I got to take Danny home. He said, and I'll be home right after that. She says, don't move. I was like, oh my God. Like Andy is such a damn bird. That is what annoys me when it comes to Andy, that Andy is so book smart, but common sense she ain't got. Like the fuck. And she told Sabrina, and I was like, Sabrina, shut up, just let it go. I'ma let it go, right? So we see Karen. So Karen is leaving to go check on the salon, right? So Aaron called her and asked her where was she. She said she's on her way to the salon. He said, oh well, I was at your place. She said, he asked her to come back so they can talk. So she said, okay. She called Pam up to say, you see if Pam locked up the salon and if she turned off all the curlers, right? Pam was in the middle of having sex because I'm like, Karen, you don't hear the labored moans in her voice? I'm like, Pam is getting some pain. So she told Pam to send her, the videos because Pam said she forgot, right? So we move over to Calvin and his tight ass shirt and Maurice, right? What I will say about Calvin is he makes some sense when he's talking about the fact that, they don't know what Q is going to say if he makes it. But the thing is, there are cameras in the parking lot. So the cameras can tell a story that Q can't even, Q would have to be like, Q can't say nothing that Maurice did anything to him. Q pulled the gun. They struggled over the gun. The gun went off. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing. So it was self-defense on Maurice's part, right? So, and here's my thing with Calvin. Calvin has so much empathy for him, but didn't you just beat that nigga up with a golf club? Like, I'm sorry, if I'm not mistaken, you whooped his ass with a whole ass golf club. Like, you could have killed him too. So, what are we talking about, Calvin? But that's neither here nor there. So, Karen, she went back home and Aaron was there, right? Karen got this stank ass attitude with Aaron. So Aaron wants to sit here and say that this woman is somebody that he previously dated. It wasn't that long. So I'm assuming that when she couldn't make up her mind if she wanted to be with him or with Zach, he went and dated this woman. But I'm like, that wasn't that long. Like in Tyler Perry land, it might have been a while, but in the real world, like and in our world, it might have been a long time. But in Tyler Perry's world, that might have been a few days or maybe even a week, if that. So he's trying to play this woman out like she's crazy. I was like, and I'm glad Karen said, so was your ex-wife crazy? I was like, exactly. Was your ex-wife crazy? Because she came to Karen's salon and shot and killed herself. So what are we talking about here? But okay. So Aaron says it wasn't that serious. And Karen's like, so are you one of those people that gaslight women? I'm like, I think he is. I do believe he is, right? So Karen left, and so she called Pam to get Pam to send her the videos. So Pam sent her the video, and she was like, damn it, Pam. And she says, what? She said, did you see that red light on the curlers? She's like, that means it's on. Pam said, I thought that meant it was cooling off. I was like, oh my God. So Karen hops in her car and heads down to the salon. When Karen got into the salon was on fire. Wasn't a written, I mean, y'all couldn't do nothing better with that fire because you could literally tell that fire was CGI. But neither here nor there, right? But I was thinking to myself, like, Karen, you're stupid. You're pregnant. Why would you go into a building? I mean, I know it's your salon, I know it's your baby, but why did you go in there? She went and got the fire extinguisher. The moment that the fire extinguisher didn't work, I would have threw that motherfucker on the ground and ran out the fucking door. But no, Karen passed out. I was like, well, I be damned. So that's why. I believe that Karen about to lose this baby. Because all that smoke inhalation, I don't think it's gonna be good for her baby. So I think Karen is no longer going to be pregnant by Zach or Aaron. But hey, that's the episode, you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about it down in the comment section below, you guys. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video, you guys. And until the next time, you guys stay safe out there. Take care of yourselves. So wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.